Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conestoga College's first live virtual fair. I would like to introduce Mr. Paul Finch in a moment from the School of Health and Life Sciences area, but just a few housekeeping items. On your screen, if you're on your laptop, you'll see at the bottom a Q&A. So if you have any questions during this process, you can do your Q&A there. If you're on your iPad, it may be up at the top of your screen. And anyone using a phone, if you turn it sideways, you'll be able to see this presentation. Okay, so we're going to have Mr. Paul Finch start telling you all about the health and life sciences programs. Paul?
Next slide, please. Sorry, the screen share has disappeared. That's great, thanks. Well, hello everybody. Good to meet you all virtually. And by way of introduction, my name is Paul Finch. You'll see me there on the right-hand side of your screen. I'm Chair of Health Sciences, and that department includes all of the health science focused programs except for the nursing family. There are a number of chairs in the school that take care of various different departments, including health sciences, life sciences, and the nursing family of programs. Joining us momentarily will be Dr. Boscart, who is the Executive Dean of the school. And next slide, please. And it is a really very dynamic environment that we have at Conestoga. As you'll see there, over 2,400 students across 18 different programs in the school. And one of the very exciting things about the opportunity that Conestoga presents is the breadth and diversity of programming that potential students have the opportunity to investigate and subsequently pursue. These programs include a variety of degrees, 2-year diploma programs, 3-year advanced diploma programs, and a number of certificate programs also. The degrees cover areas such as applied health information science, which is really bioinformatics, the Bachelor of Environmental Public Health, which is now relatively new into its perhaps 2nd or 3rd year, and is a very well-liked program. Then we have life sciences programs in biotechnology with some fast track options. We have nursing programs, including practical nursing, the BSCN, which we offer collaboratively with McMaster University, and then a variety of health science programs, including fitness and health promotion, paramedic, hearing instrument specialist, and others. Next slide, please. Within the school, all of these programs are staffed up by faculty who are well grounded in the real world of the discipline. Our respiratory therapists are well versed in all aspects of respiratory care, from adult critical care through to neonatal and pediatric critical care also. In paramedic, the same can be said. We have individuals that are faculty at the school and are also practitioners in the field of paramedicine. And the same can be said for all our programs, including nursing and the life sciences programs. Our interprofessional resource team is based in the Cowan Health Sciences Center, and we'll come to talk a little bit more about that in due course. But this team is made up of a variety of individuals from a diverse range of disciplines and specialities, and they are there to support student learning and the operation of the health sciences facility. Within the college, of course, we have a variety of services to support students in their academic journey, including counseling services, student engagement facilities, work integrated learning, and of course, student success services. Next slide, please. So when you're thinking about your future and the academic path that will lead to it, it's worth considering the following key points. And we have these well in hand at Conestoga. Project-based learning models of education, blended academics with hands-on experience, leading edge facilities such as the Cowan Health Sciences Centre, tight relationships with our industry partners, which in our world means clinical partners. We reflect the needs of the labour market very well in our programming, and we're always very proud that our graduates are career ready, meaning that they are educated to an entry to practice standard and will be able to contribute from the point of graduation to high quality health care provision. Next slide. Now, the Cowan Health Sciences Centre is really the hub of operations for health sciences. The Cowan Health Sciences Centre is a 70,000 square foot facility over 3 floors that provides real world simulations and opportunity for work in laboratories reflecting the real world. These labs are bed labs reflecting the nursing world. They are respiratory care labs, paramedic labs. We have a series of community-oriented spaces, such as an apartment and a community living suite. So we have all of the environments necessary to prepare our graduates for the real world of work in health sciences, regardless of what discipline the individual is focused on. Next slide, please. Now, we're all aware that the last semester and the current spring-summer semester have been atypical. And so the natural question arises regarding the coming fall semester. Well, we will be planning, we are in the process of planning, and we will be delivering courses such that we reflect the public health requirements in the province. And of course, the safety of our students, staff, and the public is at the core of our considerations. The reality of this fall is that we anticipate many courses will continue to be delivered remotely. That is to say, where a course can be delivered remotely, it will be. Theory will be, by and large, covered in an online remote environment. But that said, very important to note that Cowan Health Science Centre labs will be open for activities demanding face-to-face learning. Now, in health sciences, of course, there will be key components that will see our students on campus. The length of time students will be present on campus will be necessarily curtailed in comparison to normal operations, but on campus students will be. These activities will be scheduled in advance, so you know when and where you should attend. I won't go into the public health protocols for access and working on campus at the moment, but suffice to say, those protocols will be in place to ensure everybody's safety. Important to note that with respect to lab activities, there will often be pre-lab and post-lab remote requirements, and they will bookend a face-to-face practical experience held live at the Cowan Health Sciences Centre. So we will be making sure that all students meet the outcomes of those respective programs in albeit atypical fashion, but as I say, outcomes will be met. Next slide, please. Some advice when you're thinking about this coming fall semester. We will offer you the opportunity to build your experiential knowledge. You have to realize that you can't learn everything on the internet, and we're well aware of that. That is why we'll be bringing you on campus when necessary and when possible. The fact that you will be learning in an environment that is more remote-based than usual does not mean you should not ask for help when you need it. You most absolutely should. And of course, you should attend virtual classes and work groups as scheduled. Now, on the subject of remote scheduling, there will be two versions of remote delivery, synchronous and asynchronous. When an activity is asynchronous, you will of course be able to engage in that at your own discretion. When you're able to do that will be determined by you, provided you do engage in that activity before the laboratory that it relates to. There will also be remote sessions that are scheduled as a face-to-face class would be, and those will be synchronous sessions. And that is to say that you will be online, face-to-face with your professor, going through various learning activities. Next slide, please. These are the different ways that you can connect with us. I thank you for your attention. And I think now, Lisa, we can open the session to...
Veronique is with us now. Oh, she's on mute. That question came in about the biotechnology program, Paul.
Indeed, yes.
Well, it just says will you be talking about the biotechnology program? So tell them a little bit about. Oh.
Well, the biotechnology program is a 2-year, the basic program is a 2-year diploma program. It naturally consists of a blend of theory and laboratory experiences, and it will be for the fall approached in the way that I've described, and that is to say that theoretical learning will by and large be online, delivered remotely. There will be critical labs scheduled for biotechnology students to attend to gain those essential skills.
Okay. Another question came up. Oh, Veronique, how are you?
Good, I'm good. I'm just answering some of the questions that
okay, that's great then. Did you want to say something about?
Yeah, I just saw a question about how will I, hi everyone, thank you for joining us. And thank you to Dr. Paul Finch for taking the lead on this seminar. The question that was related, how will I know if I have labs? That information will be made available through your program page and as well in your course schedule that will be distributed closer to the start of the program. The second part to that question was how often will I have a lab? That will really depend on the type of program you.
Oh, she's frozen.
Oh. I see there's another question here, Lisa. Perhaps I could pick that one up.
Great.
And this is related to the beds and ventilators and so forth that have been deployed to our clinical partners. And the question is, how will lab courses proceed without these learning resources, particularly for the RT program? And it's a very good question. We are hopeful, although it does of course remain to be seen, but we are hopeful that we will be able to recover these resources and use them for learning purposes come the fall semester. We in fact have already begun to receive some of our equipment back from the hospitals. So we're hopeful that in fact all of the equipment that we need will be back on campus for the fall. Thanks for that question.
Hi, this is Veronique. I just see a question from Michaela on the Conestoga McMaster Nursing Program. So are you expected to go to McMaster University, or we're only to continue to learn with Conestoga? Your entire programming and learning will happen here at Conestoga College, but the content of the program is developed in collaboration with McMaster, but your learning activities will be here at Conestoga College. I hope that answered that question.
And picking up on another question, the question is, yeah, I'm assuming that the first semester of the respiratory therapy program is almost all remote learning. And the answer to that is that yes, it will be. There will be a few hours a week that students will be on campus in the RT lab, but the majority of the first semester will be remote learning. And of course, in truth, there is a lot of theoretical material in the first semester of the RT program. So that does lend itself well to this need to adapt to the remote environment.
This is Veronique. I'm going to answer a question on how will placements be delivered in fall 2020. So depending on the type of placement and the level of your studies, we are right now working with our different clinical partners to do risk assessments to see when it is safe to return students into those clinical environments. And so there's a couple of factors, obviously, that need to be in place to make sure that we can have good learning happening. And so it really will depend on the type of program you're in and the type of placements that you require for your program. So we're working with a full team within the school right now to see how we can line up the placements for everyone where appropriate. I'm just looking, Paul, do you want to answer the healthcare administration question? Is that okay?
To be honest, the healthcare administration question is not a part of the School of Health and Life Sciences. That may seem a little odd, but in fact, structurally, it does not fall to our school. So in truth, I cannot really provide an awful lot of information about that.
Yeah,
but there was a question about practical nurse.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I see a nursing question here, Veronique speaking. As soon as you are in the program registered and you've paid your deposit, a package will be sent out. They're starting the end of this week with the requirements for additional testing, including immunization, CPR, and background checks. So you'll have that information by the end of next week, and you can start as soon as you can. We like to have all of those requirements in place before the start of the academic year in September, and some of them take a little bit longer to get organized, including your background check, your police check. For the practical nursing program, a lot of your first level programming your theory classes will happen online, your lab classes will be set up where appropriate within our Cowan Health Sciences Center, and then we will start preparing you for clinical entrance wherever it's safe to do so.
And I'm seeing a question about the respiratory therapy program. The question being, will labs be conducted once a week, or will the students be on campus more than once a week? Now, for the first semester, students will be on campus once a week. Now, it is important to note, though, that with the RT program, even though much of the theory will be delivered remotely, those will be synchronous schedules. So although you'll be physically present on campus once a week, it will be a fairly full week of scheduled remote learning where you will be essentially, as we are now, online with your professors.
And I am just writing an answer to Emmanuel Lofsan. There you go. The question from Anonymous, can a program defer from May to September be deferred again? It would depend on the type of program and in what, if you are in level 1. So that would be a question that can go to the registrar's office. So I'll give you an email contact for that.
I just had a couple of things, if that's okay with you guys. Do you have any success stories you'd like to share?
Yeah,
Any students?
I have seen some students come through several times because they start out in the pre-health program, and then a year later I see them in the orientation classes for nursing or for respiratory therapy, and then I do see them again at graduation. And so they've been with us for a couple of years, but have really built up their career through different stages. And it's very exciting to see somebody like that really find their way and choose the profession that they want to build a career in over time. And so we're very, very fortunate that we see people like that in our school. And then when we are in clinical environments, we see these people as our colleagues, working with them, and just being able to work with people that have gone through that system that we know is of the highest quality makes us very proud, and makes us certain that we'll have good healthcare in our community.
And
sorry. Yeah, so in terms of success stories, I mean, it is just so wonderful to see so many of our graduates obtain employment in their chosen field and then be successful afterwards. And that may be in the hearing health field, or the paramedic field, the RT field, or in the nutrition field. Another angle on that is that for us, it is very nice when we see our program graduates cycle back to us in a different capacity from that of student, and where we're able to bring our graduates on board either as faculty or as support staff. We just so enjoy having our grads back working with us in that capacity, and there's all sorts of examples of that I won't list, but they're very sort of heartening stories.
And there's also great pathways going into the program. So for an example, if you did pre-health and then went into one of the other science programs, so there's great bridging that's available, practical nurse into BSCN, for an example. So is there any pathwaying you wanted to share with?
Well, certainly for some of the programs are very oversubscribed and highly competitive, and I'll use paramedic and RT as an example. So for those programs in particular, and for practical nursing, many students do find their way to the program through the pre-health programs. It sort of is a very useful introduction to life at college. It provides a solid theoretical basis and really prepares students for success in their chosen fields. That isn't to say it's essential. I mean, it is not, but we do find that many students come to us through that pathway, and it can work very well.
Great. And preparing for the fall, is there any extra things that students need? Like, do they have to purchase kind of uniforms, or do they need tablets? Do they need equipment?
So for some programs, the answer is yes. For example, semester one paramedic students will require uniforms and basically, lab kits. RTs, the same can be said, and also for the nursing students. So there are a series of requirements. Now, once the student is accepted and confirmed into the program, then the college works with the student to facilitate all of that. So nobody's kind of turned loose and expected just to find their own way to uniform suppliers. We do work with students on that front. And in terms of preparation, I would say that it's really about organizing life to accommodate full-time, rigorous academic study. And that applies to students in all programs within the school. Please recognize that the fact that these programs this semester will be remotely delivered to a greater extent than is normal does not mean that it is a lighter load. On the contrary, remote learning actually requires a level of discipline that is different to face-to-face learning. And so really take that on board and get prepared so that when semester starts, you're ready to hit the ground running.
And programs are still available for fall, so if students wanted to check that out, they could go to the website.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a number of programs that are still open for fall. Some, of course, have closed, those that are in very high demand. But there are still some programs that are open. And indeed, you know, we maintain wait lists throughout the summer so that even for programs that may today be full, if anything opens up, then we go to the wait list.
Great.
Yeah. I've responded to most questions that I can online, but Paul, there is one left for you specifically related to the RT program.
Oh yeah, I'm just seeing that pop up. So our placements based on lottery. So placements are based on a choice system. Students are asked to rank their placement choices, and then based on those rankings, the program basically puts the jigsaw puzzle together. And obviously we try and get as many students into, you know, higher level choices, but ultimately there are only a limited number of placements, and we have to make sure that students also get the experience they need. With respect to the specialty rotations, such as neonatal and pediatric ICUs, they are assigned placements by and large because there are only a couple of options for those. Second part of that question, what's the employment rate? Well, the employment rate is, if we look at it nationally, the employment rate is always excellent. If we look at it provincially in Ontario, the employment rate is very good. And the usual scenario, and this applies really to all health science programs, is that an individual will start off in a casual role with the hospital, let us say, and then as they build experience and seniority, then they would move towards full-time permanent employment. This year, of course, given the COVID-19 situation, there really are simply not enough RTs to meet that need. So this year, and no doubt looking to the near future, that will continue.
Wow, there's lots happening in the health sciences. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have anything to add? I see there's another question up there.
Yes, I see health and service management program has a high employee rate and is open for September online. I can speak to the first part of that question. I think with most health and any service program itself, although this one is not in our school, there is a very high employment rate, especially now, because it's a workforce that is very much needed out there. And so just as Dr. Finch was saying, is that often we see that with nursing as well. We start on a temporary part-time basis, but then very easily step into the more permanent positions because they're needed out there. I cannot speak to if that program is still open for the September online intake because it's not one of our programs in the school, but I can find out in the meantime. If there is another question happening, then I can see if...
that one can be, we can handle that one through the recruitment.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned you didn't have to answer all of them. We're having those looked after as well. We're trying to just address the ones that are related to your school.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. And I see a question here for students who do not live in Kitchener. Would you recommend that they apply for residence off-campus housing with a lot of the classes being held online, but with the labs being open? This question would really depend on which program you are in. That would be a difficult one to answer without knowing the program. Some programs have a very high rotation of labs and clinical placements. And so if I am speaking about nursing, for example, some of your clinical rotations or your paramedic rotations start very early in the morning or they go late at night, and sometimes they're evening and night shifts. Other programs, such as the biotech programs, don't have that type of clinical engagement, and they would have labs online. Depending, of course, it's very difficult to predict what's happening with the pandemic, but depending on a positive moving forward, we are gradually opening our facilities for essential lab activities in September. And then if everything moves positively, we would resume lab activities where it's safe to do so. So again, depending on your program, you would have to see how many lab activities are scheduled for that first semester.
Yeah, and the placements, are those placements in just our region or outside of the region for your placements? Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Make that quick. 'Cause
So, yeah, I think we've talked a little bit earlier on. So placements, there is a wide variety of placements because people come from different environments. And so we offer all of the placements depending on the program, of course, that are available. And students can submit a preference. And then we try to work with the student to facilitate one of their preferences to see if it is possible. So we do have students that, for example, a practical nursing student that lives in Woodstock, that for the first semester lives close by to do all of the work here, and then wants to do the final consolidation placement, which is a full semester of consolidation placement. If they want to do that in Woodstock, we try to accommodate to see what it is that we can do. It's hard to predict how that goes because placements and requests change every semester, but a student definitely has an opportunity to submit their preference.
Oh, great. Okay. I guess that wraps that up, and thank you very, very much for all of your great information. Just so you're aware, folks, that videos on each individual program, demand videos are available through our website, so you're welcome to check those out. You can book an online guided tour. There's also virtual tours available to students as well and their family members, so you're welcome to do that as well. And we do have a survey you can fill out. Any questions we weren't able to answer today, we will be doing that through the student recruitment team at recruitment@conestogac.on.ca. Okay, thank you very, very much. Have a good night.